I've been wanting to do this comparison video for quite some time, but I've just been just a little big stupid. I have here finally a pair of AKG K240 Studios, the more new K240s, and a pair of the old AKG K240 monitors. Now, the K240s, the newer ones, the Studios, have there's like an MK2, but we don't talk about that. There's also the Mass Drop, or the Drop, K220s. We're not going to talk about those either. It's going to be mainly these two. There's also two other notable versions of the K240s. I always forget what the other model was. It's like DF or something. K240 DFs. Apparently, one of the best sounding headphones from the lineup. And also the Sextets, which are also very pristine. I have a pair of Sextets coming in, so I'll be servicing them because it's something I want to talk about in this video. Yeah. Both of these headphones, notorious, super duper popular, especially this one, the monitors, very very popular and also very very beloved in studios for recording, mixing, and live performance. Like when you're in the booth recording, you'd want to maybe wear these. Maybe might get picked up on headphones or on the microphone, but they sound amazing. The build quality and the build overall has not changed. I literally took these apart to service. Took these apart, and I also took these apart because I was curious. And basically, nothing's changed. It's just that this has an XLR plug, mini XLR plug, so you can plug in whatever length of cable you want. Like I have here, this is like for me my studio cable, which is like super duper long, and then I got a more shorter cable, so I can plug this into like my phone, so to speak. The interesting thing about the K240s is that it doesn't matter which version you have, the 55 ohm new version or the monitor version. They are both relatively hard to drive headphones. I don't know if it's because if it's the amperage of the amplifier that you need to care about, or if it's the voltage. That's something I don't know. I'm not really too well versed with the tech, but I am definitely well versed and opinionated with little experience about the sound and the comfort. The comfort has not changed. Over time, you may need to replace the elastics that are right there. It's where my finger's trying to get inside. Right there is one of those elastics. And basically that can loosen over time and lose its elasticity. Because sometimes some people go crazy on these things. Like, I don't know why. You don't need to pull on them so hard. Please. Stop. But that's about it. In terms of what's easy to fix on these things. People don't want to buy these, and I think I know why they're so cheap. And that is because it's not the sound that is cheap, because the maintenance is expensive. You have to hope that you get lucky. I want to get the box. I'm gonna get the box. All right. I have here a box full of some spare parts. Okay. And I only have spare parts because we don't talk about it. But I have a specific box for just the AKG K240 stuff. Sorry, microphone. Inside of this box is the second pair of K240s that I bought, monitor versions. And there was some jank ass stuff going on. Okay. Let's use the, I think this is the left cup. So when you're maintaining these things, thanks phone. The foam that's inside, it's actually what's responsible for the reason why this movement is kind of elastic and also very soft. You can't hear this on the microphone, but I think you can definitely hear this. I'm a little bit more rough, but I'm just trying to elaborate my point. So basically, when you have these headphones taken apart, should I just, I'll just be lazy. It looks something like this. This looks so jank. It looks something like that, okay? And you take this part out, and it's got this material. It's a nice fabric feeling. Feels like paper mache. I bet you it's like acoustic paper. Acoustic. Okay? And then you got your driver. Now, what's interesting is that there's foam that goes around this whole thing. And that's actually the reason why when this is moving and pivoting all over the place, the edge of the cup digs into the foam. And the foam can not be cleaned, of course, so unless you do this whole thing, which does require you to desolder. And that foam is known to deteriorate and break over time. It's super sad. It's actually the reason why I'm a little scared once I get my sextets, because they're apparently really good phones, really good cans, just like the monitors. But maintenance, you can get lucky, okay? Because on these, okay, or well, actually, not this pair, but on this pair, the pair that is my main pair, the foam on this actually wasn't too bad. When I took it apart, I was like, oh my god, the foam actually still has some life in it. It's a little wet though. The foam on these was completely just, you can just squeeze it, and then it's already starting to just turn into dust. I wanted to take a video of that, put it in this one, but I'm lazy to edit. There's foam discs that are removable. If you saw the video when I put the aerodynamic pads on these, the foam discs that are inside here, that's disgusting. They're separate and they're thick. Now, I don't know if I can say the same about the foam discs. There's two in there that are actually a part of this set. Now, what's really funny is that yeah, they're not thick at all. I don't know if they were thick to begin with. But gosh darn it, jolly me. The way that they held that in there, because it's thin, right? So they had to use adhesive or glue or something to hold it in place around the driver. And that stuff, if it's that's actually when you pray that it is dried out and like kind of like rotten, because it's easier to wipe off. It's a lot easier to wipe off. If you get really unlucky, like my main pair, they it's like wet and sticky still. That's the reason why on my pair of monitors, this thing is moving around. It's loose because I cleaned it. I don't want to deal with that later. I want to deal with it now. So you can get lucky and you can get a driver that is that clean. And the design of the driver is completely different too. That's something I wanted to state. So what was really interesting is that on the new modern K240s, they are actually not clipped in there, because the driver can just plop right out. The clip instead is in the most disturbing, horrible place, and it's in the back. You can't really see it. Oh, like right there. There it is. There's the clip. There's two of them. I don't have a tool to take the driver out. I actually just want to be like, yo, what if I put the driver? Yeah. In the studios? No, you can't do that. You'll have to put the whole unit. You can't just replace the driver. A little sad. But I guess there's some good, just some good reason for that. But anyways, I got lucky. Okay. I have a set of clean monitor drivers because what happens is the adhesive for this, that's why I'm thinking I don't know if they're supposed to be this thin. It's like a wafer. It's kind of like a cheesecloth thin. Is because the adhesive or maybe the deteriorated foam gets stuck inside of the speakers and it can damage it. I just blew into it. I was just like outside of my house. And that was good enough. It got all that gunk out of there. But again, maintenance. That cleaning was a nightmare, and I can't wait to do it 2 more times because I need to see which sextet is better for me to just use on the daily. Yeah. First world problems, right? Shouldn't really be complaining. Those are a pair of sextets. But yeah, the monitors require lots of maintenance for them to be in working order. And again, you have to remember too that if you're unlucky like me, one of the only places that I know I can buy parts, well, that I found because I'm lazy, one of the places I found that I can buy parts is based in the States, and I can't buy the elastic part for the headphones. And I was going to grab the headphones. Let's just use the taken apart K240s. So I can't buy, because these are the design of the actual elastic is 3 parts. You have one part that's right on the inside, which is where the screw will settle on the inside like that. And then you have this part here, which on the studios would say like the K240 studios. And then you have to nick that out. Or actually, you don't need to nick that out. Never mind. My bad. The screw's on the inside. Ugh. So that is sandwiching this little piece in there. And that's holding onto this elastic. And this elastic, yeah, it'll lose its elasticity over time. So I can't buy those parts because they don't ship to Canada. It kind of sucks. So I'm gonna have to find another whatever. Now, what's really interesting is that the weakness of the strap is still very prominent no matter what era. And I wonder if it's because of weather. As you can see here, this is nice and like, you know, ooh, feels good at the edge, but then right over here, oh no, something happened. I don't know why this happens. I don't know why the strap gets stiff like this. So it's the same issue that my studios got into. To get this one cable design, just like it is on the monitors, they actually use the adjusting, like, strap holder thing. I don't know what to call it. It's basically just a over-glorified protected, okay? Because when I started running my nails on these, I thought it was plastic, but it's not. It's actually wrapped with like some kind of like whatever wrap thing, and then it's hard material, to run the cable. It's actually what you solder the stupid end to. That's one of the connectors with the solder. Now, let's actually talk about something besides the design. Well, the comfort. I gotta say, okay? And this is speaking without the aerodynamic pads on them. They're comfortable as shit. There's honestly nothing that I would change about these. And there's a few things that I would notify you about. This right here where it says right and left, that's adjustable. So that's why for me, mine isn't the stock distance. Stock distance as in like the distance between this part here that can adjust and then like this stationary part, okay, that connects to the strap. You can adjust where this goes. And that's exactly what I did. I actually made it a little bit more closer so that there's less distance that this moves. And that works for my head really, really well. Now, when I'm wearing stock pads, and I have a pair that are not worn, but they're hardened, so that's why they're not gonna get pushed in ever again. And I also have worn-in pads. Now, I think that's a wonderful thing to share, is because I actually have access to that. Is worn-in pads. Oh man. So when I was listening to these with the worn-in pads, the drivers are so close to your ears. It's ridiculous. It's literally touching your ear. Because like if I pulled on this right now, like you can feel the driver with your nail, man. You can feel it on your ear. Oh my god. You can feel it on your ear. But oh my goodness. The sound, it's so good. Typically when you have worn-in pads, it brings the driver closer and it sounds louder. It is probably the case between worn and unworn pads. But in general, the studios do not sound as impactful, articulate, and fun as the monitors. The monitors, I'm not gonna say ours are like I don't want to call these reference headphones. Normally reference headphones, you know, it's got some bass roll off. You know, like let me bass roll off and then bass roll off and then flat as much as possible. And then maybe pull a aerodynamic and then just sizzle up the top end. You know, make it go whatever you want. When I mentioned the song, Above All From Home, please listen to Above All From Home. Because you're going to appreciate that bass. Because that bass line sounds beautiful on these. This has such a really beautiful mid range. It has very nice highs. It's a very warm sounding headphone. And I think I mentioned this. I always forget. I'm so sorry. Again, this is all using that solid state receiver from Realistic, because it's the only thing I have in the house from my dad. Thanks, Dad. That can drive 600 ohms. The Scarlett's not going to drive it at all. I tried. Nothing happens. I tried on my phone too, out of curiosity. Nothing. It's like it's kind of like the YouTubers were whispering. Comfortable. Even though I removed one of the things that's supposed to make it even more comfortable. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Honestly. It still feels comfortable as heck. Man. And then I've already mentioned the adjustability thing. I did it to these as well. Made it a little more tighter. So you can kind of get away with not repairing or replacing the elastics. Because as soon as I do that to the max, well, guess what, buddy? That's not going to go more lower than that. So, you know, you can just max it out and then it's not going to adjust at all. So that's cool. I like how there is the auto adjustment. And then there is a manual adjustment. Nice. And again, the pads are stock pads are good. They're okay. Again, depending on where you live, you may get that issue like I did, where the leather strap actually gets stiff and then the pads get stiff. Get the velour pads. Get the Beyerdynamic pads. I got another pair of Beyerdynamic pads. Again for my 770s, because I need one for the 770s. Then I got two more. One for the sextets, and then one for a set of the monitors. Because I just love the sound. And I want it to be comfortable. And that's something that made both the K240s. I've tried it on both. Just have that more comfortable factor to them. They just feel so light, especially the studios. They feel so light on your head. Such a light clamp. Design philosophy again is more reliant on the strap to hold it up. So that's why you'll feel it, that when the elastics die on these, you're going to be more prone to adjust these so that it holds itself, it hoists itself up. Again, the sound. This has it, okay? Like the studios have the same sound as the monitors. The only thing that I feel though is that the monitors feel more open. And that might be the reason why not a lot of people like the studios. They still suggest it though, because AKG. Maybe that's the reason. Or maybe because they actually drive it properly. Because that's something that happened to me. Again, I didn't know. Because it's 55 ohms, right? Semi-open. Both. Semi-open. I would put it to like 12 and not get anything out of the studios. But then when I drove it more, like it was crazy the sound I got out of these things, man. I was like, that's where the mids are. Like, again, I don't know if it's based on the amperage or if it's based on the voltage. If like these are just more power hungry. You know? So just be wary of that. Do a little bit more research than I have. But just know that I have a feeling that these are probably more power hungry. That's probably why that happened. So if you give these enough juice, they sound fine. But they're narrow. They're more narrow. The pads, I'm going to say, like, stock. Okay, this is all stock right now. Like, what we're talking about, right? Like it's just narrow. Even with new pads, it's narrow. With worn-in pads, these things are so open. It feels like everyone's everywhere, man. Ooh. And especially if these are driven with the wrong kind of amp, because on the Yamaha MG10 XUF, I can actually I can drive the monitors. But the monitors have like this piercing mid-range. It hurts, and I don't know why. It might have just been my mic, how I set it up when I was monitoring myself. But I mean, you're just listening to this music and stuff. It it it's so good on vocals. It's so good on vocals and instruments. I love how these sound. In that bass line, it's out there. It's like, oh yeah, you can feel it, man. And there's like this tang to it. I just love it. I just love it. And above all, the K240s don't have it. They don't have that tang. That you feel in above all. They just don't. Now let's talk about the sound and stuff of the studios when I do have the Beyerdynamic pads on. Okay. The soundstage opens up a little bit. That's it. You can't change You can't change what has been changed, right? Or expect the same sound from something that has been changed. Lots of people are like, you know, all crazy about old stuff. And I think that from my experience so far from using different kinds of headphones, there is only some truth in that statement. That old might be better. Okay? There's only some truth to it. Like even the fabric, again, I was making fun of it. Like the paper mache acoustic paper feels quality, man. Feels quality. But that foam, that was probably like one of the biggest downfalls of AKG right there. Was their choice of like, yeah, let's use this particular foam and not do any longevity testing. I don't know if the foam material has changed over time, so don't quote me on that, okay? But I'm not gonna be surprised if the foams on my studios suffer from that. And again, that's the foam that's inside this cup. Like again, the original pads on these, they stiffened up. I don't know why. And then the leather stiffened up too. Maybe it's because I brought them outside. Again, I'm thinking that it might just be due to weather. And these are very weather sensitive. And that's why I've also been curious to think maybe that's the reason why they sound so forward. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe it's the pads. These pads are thicker. So it might be dampening some of the high end, maybe. Maybe remove the pads? Give a listen? That might be something I'll do. I actually might consider doing something like that. So, anyways. It's not worth buying these unless you know what you're doing. Because the soldering job I did, I got off easy. Oh my god. Soldering this is annoying if you don't have the tools, okay? Like, I just have like a basic variable soldering iron that doesn't have like a station. And soldering it back together was just a pain for someone like me who's inexperienced. And again, the cleanup, right? Cleanup's not worth it, man. My hands were touching glue that's like frickin' 5 decades old. Looked like someone smeared shit like all over the fucking driver. And then they just slapped the fabric on. It's the most upsetting thing I've ever seen. But I love saying but. Oh my god, I love that. That should be my line. But is it worth it for the sound? Yeah. It makes me happy. Okay? Whenever I put the studios on, I'm a happy boy. Like, I religiously use the DT770s. I religiously use it because I want those to be my mastering headphones. So I've been training my ears, mixing and listening to lots of stuff with them for a while now. But if these were not open, if these were closed back headphones, but they still were able to maintain that openness that they, for me, have left such a good impression on, I may have considered using these for everything. And again, there's K240 DFs. I think it's DFs. I actually kind of wanted to buy them. But I'm just so happy with the monitors. And the sextets are going to be coming soon, so I'll make a video on those. I'll have to service them, so maybe I'll record that too, so that you guys can see like how painful it is. See some noob solder. Oh, it's disturbing. But yeah, is it worth it? It's only as worth it to someone who it is of worth to. And I think that these were worth it to me because I loved that sound. I don't know how much 600 ohms really does. Because apparently, again, did a little review on the DT48Es. Its favorite brother, the 48A, audiometric headphones. 5 ohms, and it sounds good. From the 70s. 70s, oops. From like 1930s, 1940s. The original design. Okay, original drivers and stuff. And in the K240s, the monitors and the sextets and stuff, they came out around the 70s and 80s. So like probably just of the phones I have right now, undoubtedly one of the best soundstage. One of the best soundstage ever. Very warm, comfortable. You can increase the comfort by getting aerodynamic pads. Your choice, honestly. Because I feel like the other models you can put like if they have that circular cup and stuff, it's the same diameter size. It'll probably fit on these. So you can get velour pads on these. You can get the 880 pads on these. Maybe even the pads from the 700 series might fit on these. Don't quote me, but yeah. And replacement parts are easy because the MK2s, we don't talk about those, okay? They're cheap. They're cheap. So if you need to get new foam, Huh? I love them. I love them. Careful of the plugs. These are known to oxidize. Again, my DRS5s suffered from this issue, so I know the pain. But the plugs can oxidize. This is such a clean plug. It was really, really well taken care of, like in comparison. Like the other model again that I took apart, it was okay. It was fine. But man, oh man. Man, oh man. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say about these. Like just that baseline. That was all I needed to hear. And then when I started listening to again, my typical songs are Yuatsu by not Yuatsu. Slow by Yuatsu. Sunray. He sings San Francisco Street. And then Michael Jackson's Rock With You. Listening to Michael Jackson through these felt so good. I love it. Listen to Michael Jackson through the studios was so good. But it just didn't feel the same. It didn't feel the same. A little more narrow, cheaper, widely available, and we can't deny the one thing that makes me happy on like a low budget headphone is seeing that. I can't be happy about that more than ever. It's the reason why I wanted, like, if I were to have a daily headphone, which are my Sony V6s, I wanted to make sure that I would have a phone that has you can see it right there, has a detachable cable or something, because I just don't see why you would not want that in a headphone. It is the only reason why I hate some older headphones, even newer ones. I don't know why Dynamic they didn't make a detachable cable for the 770s. I think even the 990s and the 880s didn't have detachable cables. But AKG did really good. They made a smart choice allowing that for headphones that in my currency are like, you can get them for like 60 bucks. 60 to 80 bucks you can get these things. $20 used. One of the guys I saw selling them. Local classifieds. But the thing is, he didn't have the adapter. And he didn't also have pads in the best condition. And I already showed you this, but you can buy replacement cables. Different lengths. Straight. And I think there's some coiled ones. And man, mini XLR? Oh, mini XLR, man. Anyways, I digress. Buy monitors if you want to service them so that they will forever sound good, and you'll never have to worry about disintegrating foam ever again. Buy the modern ones if you just need something that's more practical. Again, the foam is new, but I mean, that could change and disintegrate. They both have the options to put aerodynamic pads on them and make them just such spectacularly comfortable headphones. Adjustable strap manually for one day when the elastics fail on you. And for me, one of the best sounding, like best sound stages I've ever listened to. I love how these sound. Anyways, thanks for watching. I never really know what to say. I don't really have an outro or whatever. I just always say like goodbye. I'll be probably again making a video once the sextets come in and giving you guys updates on that or how I feel about their sound and stuff. I love electronic music, and from one of the songs I've recently released, track 00, I will be probably doing more kind of tracks like that. And listening to them through these kind of headphones is going to be such an amazing experience. So it'll be awesome to kind of share that with you guys too. What some synth pieces sound like through the DT48As or the S's or the DT48Es or the sextets and the AKG monitors. But yeah, thanks for watching. Take care. Be safe. COVID's still out there.